Okay, welcome back to ReZero Anime Review, episode number 12. Yeah, first time in a month I've actually done a review for this series. Actually, more like a couple months, actually. Now, unlike with the last episode I did for this series, where I discussed the last OVA that was ever released in the series, this one is the start of the review of second season of ReZero that was supposed to come out back in April, but was pushed to basically today because the pandemic. And everything else basically is getting delayed. Because of course it is. Yep. Now this one is basically a 26 episode of the series, Everyone's Promise. Which with this episode, they pretty much finish up adapting book 9. Going from the interlude all the way to chapter 6. Which, okay, not bad. Unlike the pilot of the series, where it's exactly 45 minutes, basically an hour, this one is 28 minutes, which, okay, not bad. Episode starts off with Subaru, Emilia, just coming in the aftermath of what happened in the previous season, just relaxing in a covered wagon. Petra's there too, of course she is, and of course I was very thankful for him saving the day from the bomb that happened in the previous season, so that was the original stuff. And then we see Rem with Crouch. Well, they talk for a bit, and then all of a sudden a man in white pops up out of nowhere. Who is this man? He introduced himself as the Archbishop of Greed. Yep. And what does he do? He pretty much destroys all these wagons. And with him is this Archbishop of Gluttony. And I'm like, oh boy, I know exactly what's going to happen next. Gluttony ends up fighting Rem, and he defeats Rem. And then what does he do next? He proceeds to eat her memories and her name, basically putting her into a coma. And as for Crouch, and this is thank God it shows on screen. Apparently for Crouch, he decided to eat her memories, giving her memory loss, mostly anyways. How far back memory loss? I don't know. They don't really explain it at all. And but I remember reading for the most recent novel I read, which is book 12, she's still suffering from amnesia. And basically Subaru notices what happened, and when he gets back and looks for Rem, and he finds Rem in her state, and of course he has to heal the healer, but he can't. And then he proceeds to try to do the death by return thing that he's normally known for doing. He proceeds to stab himself in the neck, hoping that Rem is restored. And he talks to Emilia, and what about Rem? And she's like, who is Rem? Yes, this is from the book as well. Yep, and then we cut to them. We see the mansion again, and Rem in the previous loop was actually on the ground, lying down. Of course, he mentioned he had to play Portuguese again. But nope. I thought that was interesting, the fact they had to go see him again, but I guess it's probably not. Now, from what I can. Now, the thing is with Kemp's character, he's dead. He is definitely dead. Portuguese is dead. And as far as the most recent novel I read, book 12, he is still dead. So, don't need to worry about him. Right now, we have Greed and Gluttony to worry about. So, pretty much, yeah. So basically, Rem is out of her maid outfit. Her weapon is nowhere to be seen, though it was seen in the previous slew where she's like right next to her. I'm sure probably Subaru has probably stored someplace. And then we have a meeting where you have Crouch. He leaves the room and he sees Crouch, who suffers from amnesia. Well, she's delivering a message. She kind of forgets Subaru's name, but Subaru does remind her, and she, of course, calls him Subaru. Now, this is, I should point out though, unlike Funimation, which usually tends to do a simuldub, from what I can tell, Crunchyroll doesn't do that. They do, in fact, dub series, yes, but they probably take some time to dub. And probably because this episode was just released today, they probably just got it today. That's my personal guess. I don't know what their dub process is, because Funimation releases it quickly. Viz Media takes their sweet time releasing a dub. And I'm not so sure about Crunchyroll. So, basically brings to the room. where you have Emilia sitting next to Subaru, and across from him, from looking from his perspective, to his left is Crouch, and directly in front of him is Felt. Uh, is not Felt, it's Ferris, and to his right is Will, the butler, served Crouch for years, and pretty much. Oh yeah, before this, we have a brief scene. We see before I continue here, Puck briefly appears in the episode, and apparently because of his connection to Rem, it's implied he does remember Rem, but it's not fully explained here. He can't exactly restore her, but he does remember her, which is quite surprising. Unlike everybody else, has completely forgotten about her, which is indeed true. Oh, by the way, there is a new character who's going to show up in book 10. Yeah, apparently she's another maid that went off on some event, some excursion for Roswell. She just showed up. She showed up in book 10, and by book 12, and that was the most recent book I read, she's still there. She still works. She's still basically a regular character with book 10. I think the writer brought her in as sort of a semi-replacement for Rem, who is in a coma right now, so you need another smoking hot maid around. So why not this one? But unlike with Rem, she is not developing attraction to Subaru. And she's not, from what I can tell, she's not the same type of. It's implied, from what I remember, I think she's supposed to be a demon, but not the same type as Rem and Ram. By the way, Ram is nowhere to be seen this episode, which is indeed true because Ram is not in this portion of the book at all. As a matter of fact, she's largely absent. Yeah, that's Ram for you. So we had the meeting of the alliance. Ferris discussed the possibility of dissolving the alliance because Wells benefited for it, and basically, and she points the blame all this on Emilia. Subaru, rightfully so, says this: she is not responsible for this. It's the witch's cult. He even brings out. Apparently, I think this is supposed to be Portuguese's book, his gospel. By the way, I remember from the first season, he has tried to read it. He does not understand what the heck this book even says, because it's probably written in different language. Because of course he speaks Japanese, but it's not one thing that's not been explained in this series. Unlike other series, where they do explain of how in the world they got there, usually some kind of like, let's say, supreme being tends to them there. Not in the case of this series. It's completely unknown exactly who actually sent him to this world, because in the books I've read, it's never explained. I don't think it's ever explored of how he even got to this particular world, and he tends to theorize exactly why he was brought here, just to help Emilia, but it's not been deeply explored yet. Even though, yes, it's still kind of early in the series, I'm hoping eventually the writer himself does manage to explain this. So Crouch basically, it tells Ferris, and of course he first says, Ferris' son, this of course the sub, just don't call me, just call me Ferris. Don't be honorific. And he does appreciate concern for her safety is genuine, and basically both Will and Emilia both. And here's the thing: Will is actually on the side of Subaru on this, where dissolving alliance does not benefit anybody at all. Heck, even though Crouch is not having her all in memory there, she of course actually agrees that the alliance should not be dissolved. So she's felt this not voted, and we have a touch moment between the two of them, where she kind of basically, after she apologizes to Subaru and Emilia for insulting Emilia, and the fact that she's worried about Crouch's safety, and then pretty much wraps the scene. The scene takes up a small chunk of the episode, and then pretty much wrap this. We have Subaru back in what looks like Ram's room, and he's basically just thinking about what exactly. Of course, there's a knife that's probably used to cut these apples. He's contemplating using a knife to basically do the return by death, but since he's tried it before to bring her back, it doesn't work. So Emilia, of course, does comfort him during the last bits of the episode that she wants to help save him like he saved her, and despite the fact he doesn't remember her, remember him, she does want to help her. regain basically her memories and her name. She does want to do that. Now, I do have a theory of why in the world Subaru is one who remembers Rem and Puck, obviously, and why no one else does. Because Subaru is not from this particular world, and even though, yes, he's actually connected to Rem, and probably because her love for him, probably what caused him to basically those two possibly because he's not from this world, and because of her love for him, that's probably the reason why he hasn't forgotten about her. Though the books themselves don't exactly explain this, that is just my personal theory on the matter when it comes to Subaru and his connection to Rem. And he does cry at the end of the episode, Millie does comfort him, and that's the end of the episode. That's pretty much all that's happened. I mean, you had the one brief action sequence, which that was interesting to say the least. It's like this episode was meant to just finish up basically what we had left over from season 1 and just set up what we're going to do for this season. Now, with the exception of the introduction of the new archbishops, which anybody who's probably read ReZero can probably get that, yeah, introduce them now is probably a good idea. Oh, and what these people look like. Well, in the case of the Sin of Greed, he dresses in white, whereas he's got blonde hair, and he apparently is a pacifist because he hates fighting. Gluttony is this strange person with this, shark teeth that kind of reminds me of Subaru, of the main character from Fire Force, She-Ra. It reminds me of him. Heck, even they're drawn the same way too, same shaped head, except this guy's got long hair. Now this is actually a guy, not a girl, it's a guy. I have looked up online, it is in fact a guy, so don't you worry about that. And they don't really show exactly how he consumes people's memories and name. Though, in the case of who else does in the series, aside from Rem and Crouch, he does do to one other person in the series. He does to Julius. By the way, Julius is mentioned this episode, but aside from a brief flash image, he does not make a physical appearance in the episode. Yeah, you pretty much have a small cast of characters for this one episode. You just have Rem, Subaru, Emilia, Puck, who only appears for a couple minutes, Crouch, Ferris, and Will. Along with Gluttony and Greed. Basically about 9 people. Yeah, it's quite a small cast along with Petra. Of course, some of the boys there too. Petra only appears briefly for a couple of brief scenes, and that's it. But in the case of this episode overall, is it good? Yes, it's a very good start for the season. And from what I can tell, they actually, even though they add stuff, from what I can tell, I don't think they really changed much of anything. They just added stuff here from what I can tell. And I at least appreciate that the White Fox, the studio who made this episode, actually did a really good job when it comes to adapting what was left of Book 9. So it looks like, though, starting with episode 2, we're going to basically go to Book 10. Which, okay, I guess that was expected. I kind of suspected in the case of Book 9 that either they're going to finish with this episode or they're probably going to basically take up this episode and the next episode. But taking this one is perfectly fine, especially since this runtime of this episode was exactly 28 minutes. Yep, but not much else to say about this episode. Good on the part of White Fox. Can't wait for next week's episode. Yeah, which they act, from what I can tell, when I looked at basically, and here's the thing, I watched it on Crunchyroll, and they did not have scenes for next week. No preview for next week, no title for next week, so as far as I can tell, it is coming next week. And the rumor I've heard when it comes to, now I have heard that it has been confirmed this season will be split in half. As for how many episodes we're getting for the first half, the rumor is 13, and then when it comes back in January, it will have 12. So, since it's July, so does that mean this will finish up by, let me think here, I would say that you can probably finish this up probably by, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, that basically be pretty much about 3 months from now. So it could be that this first half of the season could be finished by October, have a 2 month break, and then come back. I kind of thought this was a theory I had, the whole thing of like taking a break between like a couple episodes. I kind of had this theory for High School DxD should do that if they would do season 5, which I hope they do. But in the case of this season, not really a big problem here. But the thing is, with this season, they're adapting the longest arc of the light novels, which takes the books 10 to 15. Yeah, which I'm like, okay, so it's good they capped off the previous arc, which is good. The fact this season did that. So now we're on to the 4th arc of the series. Yep. Which, here's the strange thing about the 4th arc. Aside from the 6 books that are there, there's no manga adaptation of this. Yes, I don't know why this one has not been adapted. I mean, I know the first 3 arcs have been adapted for the series, been adapted for the ReZero manga, but not the 4th arc for some reason. Yeah, I have no idea why. It's kind of a strange thing when it comes to manga adaptations of light novels. At times, they don't even bother to finish adapting the light novel. They just adapt to a certain point and they just stop. Yep, but not much else to say about this episode today here, but can't wait for next week. So yeah, so that's it for particular review. I'm probably going to have the One Piece review probably for tomorrow, because I was hoping to do it tonight, but I don't think it's going to happen tonight. No, I think it'll probably happen tomorrow, where I'll basically do my next part for it, which probably be past that episode 110, probably. But you find out tomorrow, which that'll probably be the only video, probably one of like 2 videos coming tomorrow, okay? Just next video. Bye.